This is a summary of the third season of Debbie and Carrie, The Next Generation. Early in the year 2062, Whitney Owen learns of her brother David divorcing his first wife, Jennifer, and then marrying her sister Fiona. Reason: Jennifer couldn't get pregnant. So Whitney and her husband rescued Jennifer from the homeless shelter she was in at Atlanta, Georgia, and brought her to the Smith-Wilson mansion to start a new life. As a result of this kindness, Jennifer became an atheist. Meanwhile, Janet has decided to start her own business, and so she buys out the Speedy Burgers diner that was once owned by Mike Florence. Her father becomes her first employee at the diner, and then he is soon replaced by Jennifer Owen. Carla Jenkins meets with her nephew Paul and his wife Vicky Sims at this diner, telling them of her experiences in Oklahoma teaching children at an Indian reservation. James has built a new time machine using components that were once used on the USS Sandy. Then he invites Debbie and Carrie to take a trip with him. The three end up in the town, but in the 1880s when it was first founded. And where the Tuscany Tavern will eventually be, they find a saloon. When they return to their native time, they are shocked to learn that Ted Wilson, thought to be long dead, is instead the owner of the mansion and mayor of the town. History has been changed. Carrie then suggests they go to Boston to see what that city is like. They arrive at Boston and visit the home the Sims lived in, finding Jonathan Sims there all alone. He never even met Tara Conlon, and so he was still single. Debbie and Carrie realize that Carrie's coming to Texas caused so many changes in the lives of people. So they make a flyer advertising a cheap house in Texas and travel to the year 2020 and stick it into the mailbox of Kelly Sims, Jessica's mother. Kelly tells Jessica about it, and so Jessica, Lucy, and Carrie move to Texas. Jumping forward a few weeks, Carrie meets her younger self in the town, along with a younger version of Debbie, who pledges to always fight for what's right and true. Returning again to the town in their native time, James, Debbie and Carrie are happy to find Penny in the mansion instead of Ted Wilson. All is back to normal. In the summer of 2062, Debbie informs the models of her Aphrodite agency of plans to take them on a Caribbean cruise as both a vacation and a work assignment. Two of the three Belmont triplets persuade their mother to go with them on the trip. Also going on the cruise are Richard and Diana, their cousin Helen Sims, and even Annika McKinsey and Karen Lanier, who are models of the agency. The purpose of going on the cruise is to shoot a music video for a pop star. She chooses Karen Lanier to play her love interest in the video. Debbie and Carrie are dismayed to learn later that their enemy David Owen is a passenger on the cruise, along with his wife Fiona, and they are trying to teach about their religion to the other passengers. The confrontation face-to-face between them has Debbie being content to use words, while Carrie uses violence to get her point across. After displaying a video Jennifer Owen made to attack her sister and her ex-husband, Debbie and Carrie drive the other couple away in shame. Later, a new school year starts, and Mac's girlfriend Anna has given herself a makeover to increase her appeal. It works. One of Mac's classmates then persuades him to try out for the high school football team. Meanwhile, James is testing his rebuilt teleporter. He uses it to send Penny from the time machine to the kitchen of the Smith-Wilson mansion. But then something goes terribly wrong and Penny collapses in an apparent heart attack in front of Whitney Owen. Penny is rushed to the local hospital, where the doctors discover that the problem is a ruptured aorta. The damage is quickly repaired. Janet and Mac then discover that a power surge was involved in the mishap, so they proceed to modify the time machine to prevent another incident. The following week, Mac cuts off most of his hair to make himself more appealing to Anna. It works. Mac is chosen to serve on the football team and then plays his first game, with his parents supporting him in the stands. Meanwhile, Jen has a secret encounter with Melissa Black, captain of the high school basketball team, who reveals herself to be a lesbian, and she wants Jen to be her first girlfriend. Jen accepts. The following weekend, Whitney is happy to announce that her brother David's YouTube channel was shut down because David was tired of all the criticism being thrown at him. And Melissa has to explain to Jen that she is not yet out about her sexuality because of her intolerant parents, so she asks Jen to keep their relationship a secret. In Los Angeles, it is revealed that Suzanne Hudson is not yet dead, but she was placed in cryogenic suspension because she was near death, while Richard and Diana continued to search for a cure for her genetic defects, a quest originally started by Suzanne's father, Daniel Hudson. At last, They have found the cure and are ready to give it to Suzanne, and they thaw out her body and start her heart beating again. Richard and Diana then inject Suzanne with the medicine, and the efforts are successful, with Suzanne being slowly restored to health and able to live normally. Later, James takes a trip to Harvard University, which he once attended as a student, to receive an honorary doctorate for his commanding the USS Sandy on its trip to Mars 2 years earlier. Meanwhile, Reverend Vicky Sims discovers that her pay and employment at the UU Church in the town is being cut, so after consulting with Carrie, she decides to sell the house that their mothers once lived in and move with Paul back to the Smith-Wilson mansion. With Christmas arriving, Suzanne asks Laura about the possibility of having another baby together, but Laura makes a counter-proposal, which Suzanne accepts, so in the future she will be a surrogate mother to a baby to be raised by her niece Diana and Richard. Debbie and Carrie's 40th anniversary is coming up, and they receive a package in the mail that Debbie at first thinks is a gift to celebrate the anniversary. But Carrie then notices the box has no return address, and fears the worst. Sure enough, when James' robot attempts to open the package, it is blown apart in a huge explosion. Debbie and James then trace the package to a post office in Atlanta, Georgia, home city of David Owen and where most of the Owens came from. Debbie, Carrie, and James use the time machine to travel to Atlanta, and an employee at the post office identifies David Owen as the one who brought in the package to be mailed to Dallas. James later spots David at his home, and he and Carrie use the teleporter to capture David and tie him up. But instead of turning David Owen over to the federal authorities, Debbie, Carrie, and James transport him 50,000 years in the past and then dump him at the site of where Atlanta will be, but there's nothing but forest there now, and not even any other humans. So David will die there all alone and helpless. Later, back at the Smith-Wilson mansion, Debbie and Carrie have their long-awaited anniversary celebration. But the party is interrupted by Fiona Owen, who demands to see her sister. Jennifer is at first reluctant to talk to her sister, but Debbie takes advantage of the occasion to confront Fiona about what David tried to do with the bomb he sent in the mail. Fiona admits she knew what David was planning, and also that she can't raise her son Nathan alone. Without David's financial support, she will be ruined. The two sisters then agree that Jennifer will return to Atlanta and live with Fiona and Nathan. And Nathan will not be raised as a Baptist like most of the Owens were. The corruption and bigotry the Owens were known for will end with Nathan's generation. Upon hearing of this, Debbie and Carrie rejoice in knowing that the long-running feud between them and the Owens will finally end, and so they have won the final victory. And that concludes the third season of Debbie and Carrie, The Next Generation.